How's it going?
Morning.
What you think about this?
I agree with it for the most part, but I also, I feel like you already know. Like, there's just some situations where it's, I'm not gonna say it's mandatory, but.
Like what situations?
Huh?
Like what kind of situations would you say?
The big ones, like rape, or like if there's something wrong with the baby that's like astronomical to where it would like live this miserable life.
Mm-hmm.
Like not. I'm not gonna say some special needs are minor, but like Down syndrome, you can live with Down syndrome and have a pretty happy life. You can live with autism and have severe autism and have a really happy life. But there's some things that like when you're literally just like a vegetable, I don't think it's fair.
So.
But I mean, they don't have a voice. It's hard.
Yeah.
You know? It's
hard well, just to challenge you on that, would you say that? So, like the reason I would oppose it is because I would say that even if they are conceived in rape, or even something worse like incest, or like that, and even the ones that would have a fairly poor quality of life, I would say that they're still equally valuable as human beings. Like they have the same amount of dignity because they're made in the image of God just as I am. So I would say that because they're no less valuable, then we don't have the right to end their life prematurely based on like our judgment.
Yeah. And I feel like that's also valid. I just think it depends on your mindset and you as like an individual. Like I'm sure very, very, very like I'm religious, but like you said, if like they are created like by God, but
Are you Christian?
I am. I haven't been to church in a while, but I don't know, I just feel like there's some circumstances where it's like, or like if the mom would have died, like if my husband chooses the child over me, I'm gonna be pissed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of fucked up. We can make another one,
Yeah, well, there are the situations, and I mean, I'm not a doctor, but from the research I've done and the people I've talked to, the situations where the life of the mother is at risk are, in the cases where the baby is viable, it's safer to just do a C-section. Like, if it's 30 weeks or something like that, the C-section process is safer for the woman and the baby because it's not being killed. So in that case, it would be necessary. But then, if you're looking at pre-viability, then I would look at that like, not like you have to choose between one or the other, but you would treat it like a triage situation. Like a medic in Afghanistan or something like that. If they're brought two patients that are both dying, because obviously if you're pregnant and your life's at risk and you die, the baby's also going to die. Yeah. So like in cases like that, you'd look at it and be like, okay, we have two equally valuable people. How do we save both of them? Like, what do we do to try and save both? Yeah. Like, I don't think the solution would ever be to be like, well, let's just kill this one because we can guarantee that this one's going to live. Oh my gosh, you have little booties. I just saw his little booties. Those are adorable.
Yeah, so don't get all burnt up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right, but and I don't think I would ever abort a child, but I definitely like if I was put in this. I don't think I've actually voiced this out loud, but I just don't have the mental capacity to deal with like a special needs child. I used to work in a special needs school.
Yeah.
And it was a horrible experience, honestly. I just don't have the patience for that.
Yeah.
So I would just put them up for adoption. But then you run the risk that so many of those kids are stuck in group homes.
Yeah.
They don't get the proper care. Not saying that's an excuse.
Yeah.
I'm saying like that's why I would feel bad to like put them up for adoption. It's just
Yeah, and that's understandable. I would just like, I'm an abolitionist, so like my whole stance on this is purely like based on the Bible, and like I would say that abortion is like, if you're looking at it in biblical categories, would fall under the category of child sacrifice, because and the reason for that is
that makes sense.
Yeah, but like the reason I say that is because like you're choosing to prioritize something else over the child. So like, and in the harder cases that you talk about it, like it's harder to see it that way. But like, especially in the cases where someone's like, I just can't, financially afford this child. I'd have to get a second job, or I would have to lose my career.
Yeah.
They're choosing to kill the child.
Yeah, that I don't think is fair.
Yeah, so like,
that,
I mean,
like that I 100% agree. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
Just because it's like not good timing. Like one of my friends actually, she had an abortion because it was like for her it was bad timing, and I was like, I mean it's your life, but I was disappointed, because there was really nothing wrong with it. She just didn't want it. And I was
Yeah.
like, damn, bro, that's kind of.
Yeah. So like seeing that, like that's how I think it is properly categorized. When God talks about child sacrifice, it's pretty strong. Like he talks about child sacrifice specifically even stronger than he does murder. So like in the Mosaic law, like back in the Old Testament, which I don't think we're held to literally in terms of like what punishment should be meted out necessarily, but there's still like the law that God gave Moses is still like, that's how he communicated what's wrong and what's right, So when he's talking about child sacrifice, he says, if anybody does it, regardless of whether or not they're, my people or they're, just some stranger, then, you're to punish them. And the punishment back then was to put them to death. So he says that, and he also says, I'll set my face against them. So there's, earthly judgment and also godly judgment, or, right or spiritual judgment.
Yes.
And then the unique thing about child sacrifice that sets it apart from like murder or rape or some of the other capital crimes was that he after he pronounces this judgment on the person who does it, he then looks at everybody else and says, and if the people of the land do it all, close their eyes. So like if you ignore it, if you allow it to happen and you don't establish justice in some way, then I will set my face against you and against your clan. So like the judgment that God puts on the person who actually like bore the knife and killed his child is the same judgment that he looks at the people who do nothing about it and just say, well, it's your decision, whatever. I'll let you do it. I'll close my eyes. So that's why I'm like, we need to get rid of it entirely.
Yeah.
Because the reasons he gives too, on top of that, is that he says that child sacrifice profanes his name and it defiles his sanctuary, which are kind of those sound kind of archaic in our modern, like we don't think about those things very often. But the deal with defiling his sanctuary is that it's blood guilt, because you've spilt blood, and then profaning his name, like the Lord's Prayer, which most people have at least heard. The first thing that Jesus says in that prayer is, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, which is the total opposite. So like our foremost desire should be to see God's name hallowed, because he's holy and we're not. And child sacrifice and today abortion does the complete opposite, like every time it occurs. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I get it. I'm not running out to go get abortion, but I don't know. I just feel like there's always going to be like one out of like 1,000 cases where it's kind of done. Like over in other countries where they rape like children, like 15-year-olds or like even 13-year-olds and they just got their period and now they can get pregnant. That's not right. And I mean it's not the baby's fault, but that child shouldn't have to like undergo that.
Yeah, well, I don't think the child should have to undergo that. I would say like we should be killing rapists.
Oh yeah.
Like that. Yeah, like death penalty for rapists. Like swift. Sure. Like don't sit them on death row for 12 years. Like I think if we part of what I would want to do, because I don't think abortion would be okay even in those cases, just because you're punishing the child for something the father did wrong. Yeah. So I think we should reform rape laws so that it is much more strict and much more swift. So it's like there's no chance that you're going to get off with it. And in the case where a child is produced, you're not getting away with it because of DNA testing. Like you can be 100% sure who did it.
Yeah.
So like it would, if we raise the stakes, I think we drop
Lower the
those.
likelihood.
Yeah, without making it legal to kill innocent babies.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I also feel like you're correct in that if you raise this, like the penalty for it, that it's gonna reduce. But I mean, there's always gonna be somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's.
Yeah, I think
That's just how the world is.
Yeah, there's always going to be really hard cases that we look at and are like, crap, an abortion seems like it would be expedient. But I think that we have a tendency to kind of, when hard situations are presented, we want to find the easiest way out. Like that's just like human nature. Is like when you're in a hard situation or you're presented with a hard situation, you're like, what is the quickest way out of this?
Yeah.
Which is why, like when people are, get laid off their jobs or grow up in poverty, they're more likely to resort to stealing or something like that, because they're looking at like the frame of mind where you're like, what is right to do, kind of gets suppressed because you're looking at, this sucks. How can I get out of this?
Yeah.
So I think, in any case, like if you're looking at it from, black and white on paper, is abortion, like, is it ever right to kill an innocent child? Like when you pose it that way, you're like, well, of course not.
Yeah.
So then, like, if you try and keep that consistently when you look at these really hard cases, it doesn't become right to kill an innocent child.
Yeah.
You're just like, it's just, the situations are hard and they're tragic. And I think that we should be doing more to help women, especially the younger girls who get raped and stuff. Like, there should be so much love and care just poured out. They shouldn't have to lift a finger, to raise that child, if they want to. And in some cases, there's a girl, I think her name is Anna Ritchie. She was being like repeatedly raped by her stepfather, and her mom didn't believe her. And what he was doing was he would rape her, and if she got pregnant, he would get an abortion pill and he'd force her to take it so that it hid it. So like rapists and stuff actually like abortion because it lets them get away with it, But in this girl's case, she, I don't know if she faked it. I can't remember the details, if she threw it up later or whatever. But, she resisted the abortion pill so that she actually did get pregnant and started to show. And it was her showing that actually made her mom believe, because, she was showing. Like, there's no way to deny it. So in that case, getting pregnant was what saved her from being abused.
He just casually was throwing abortion pills down. Don't you have to get those prescribed?
Not anymore. You can have them. There are places online.
Are you talking about an abortion pill, or are you talking about Plan B?
An abortion pill, like mifepristone. You can have that. There are websites online now, without a doctor's note, without anything. You can go online and just say like, hey, I live in a conservative state and I can't get an abortion, and they'll just mail it to your house.
Wow.
For some sites do it for free. Some sites do it, cheaper, or like it'll be just like $10 or something like that. But yeah, it's stupid cheap.
Okay.
Yeah, like
That's a little bit ridiculous.
And that's the way that most abortions are happening now. It's like 2/3 of abortions are by pill. They're self-medicated.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's wild that it's just becoming more of a form of birth control, which, like I've already said, I don't think it's right in any case, but like, it's easier for people to do it when they are more separated from it. Like when you're not showing, you can't feel it kick, you haven't seen an ultrasound, like you haven't gone through all those steps. Because like we just had, that's my wife over there, and that's my baby, and going through the process.
I wondered why she was standing there. I was like, why is this lady standing here? Bad. I was like, is she waiting on somebody?
No, I'm making her stand over there. But like whenever she was pregnant, we were like just going through the stages of that. It was like, it kind of blew our minds how anybody can not realize that it's human. Because like she had one of those baby tracking apps, and it was like, oh, you know, and we're talking about like 10 weeks. It's like, oh, you know, the baby's developing finger nubs, and it's like the next week they're like, it would tell you like they're the size of a blueberry, and now they're the size of a grape. Like, so like when you like, it's possible. Like if you actually pay attention, there's no way that you can deny that it's a human being in your inside of you.
Yeah.
But like with the pills, one of the reasons they're so insidious is that, you know, a lot of times, you know, when people are taking these, they're not even having morning sickness or symptoms like that. So they're just like, oh, I got a pink line. Boom.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's that's why I'm for like total abolition. Just make it illegal, make the act of it illegal, so that it's, you know, that will discourage people.
Yeah.
Because like the Bible says that the law is the tutor, and I mean, it was talking about the Old Testament law, but it applies to all law. You know, the law teaches you what's right and wrong. Like the reason that most of us would never steal anything is because we grew up in a society where if you steal something, you get punished.
Yeah.
If you take away that punishment, like you see in like some of these, some like cities like in the Midwest, I think was it Detroit that did it, or Cincinnati, I can't remember what city it is. But there, you know, some of these like really blue cities have really decriminalized shoplifting. Like you have to steal over $1,000 to actually get prosecuted.
Wow.
And you're seeing videos of like just swarms of people going into stores and just leaving with armfuls because like it's not,
no problem.
Yeah, there's no punishment. The law is telling them, you know, if you do this, we're not going to punish you, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So that's what our laws right now are doing with abortion, is that they're, you know, we're saying, you know, if you go and do this, there'll be no penalty, so it's fine. It must be okay. He is just lounging.
Yeah, she's got a...
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. She's got a gentle leader on her face that she does not like, so she's trying to, like, roll it off.
You don't like it?
No. This is our third day training with it. She's not a fan. But she does not listen. So.
Poor girl.
But yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm glad that people are out here doing it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Because hopefully, I feel like if more people say, I feel like the more people that go up against it, the less likely it is to happen.
Yeah.
Like you said, like they're just popping pills like every Friday, like for funsies. That's no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not okay. And I
Yeah.
don't agree with that. But I feel like it's gonna be pretty hard to like skew, or not skew. I think it's gonna be pretty hard for me to like change my mindset of just like on the very messed up cases. I just think that it's not.
They are hard.
Yeah, and I mean that it really is a moral battle. You really have to sit there and figure out, you know, like which way whose life you're gonna ruin, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like specifically like in the children, like in the other countries, or even this country. I mean, it's messed up stuff happens here all the time. It's so prevalent over there, but. I mean, like, trying to choose whose life you're going to ruin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not to sound petty, but, I mean, the other one was here first, you know? I know it sounds so bad, but I don't know how else to say it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that 13-year-old or that 15-year-old was here first, you know? I feel like that's just not something that... I, as a 13-year-old, could not have gone through that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then now you've got a child who needs to go to therapy all the time, who probably is going to fall really deep in depression and honestly probably kill themselves anyways, you know? So I just feel like it's something that needs to be regulated very, 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 like, hardly, or very thoroughly, is a better word, but I don't think it should be completely regulated, because at that point you've got people who are just kind of, you know, they're lost, you know, they've got this, not a problem, I mean, it really is a problem. And I feel like it should also be like, maybe the case should be like brought in front of like a judge or something, and then it's like, hey, yeah, sure, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think right now people just use it as a scapegoat, and it really shouldn't be. I feel like it really should not be like that. But also, I feel like the other states, like the really blue states who are trying to make it to where you can abort the baby 2 days before it's due, I also think that's absolutely horrendous. And if you're already that far along, that is horrible. You know what I mean? Because the baby can actually feel what's going on at that point. You know, they can feel you ripping their limbs off. They can feel them dying. You know, they might not fully understand what's happening, but they can feel it, and that's horrible.
Yeah, and especially like I said, like those late ones, it's safer just to have a C-section. Like if you're going to undergo a surgical procedure, just do the C-section, because you're not killing somebody and it's safer for you. Like it's win-win. But like people's hearts are darkened.
Honestly, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure the argument of if the baby's going to die or if the mom is going to die, like pick one, I'm pretty sure that's like pretty archaic at this point, now that I'm thinking about it. Because just take them out, you know?
Like just try and say both. Because we get accused a lot because we're like, the movement I'm a part of is against or is for criminalizing it. So like if a woman does it, we would hold her accountable. And like because we're against exceptions, we get accused a lot of like hating women, but it's really not. Like we don't care.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much as hating women. I think it's just really, really, really caring about like every life.
Exactly.
That exists. I think there are people who are just like, I don't give a, you know what I mean? Like there are those men, but I mean
the weird red pill Andrew Tate types.
You know what I mean? It's not all. I don't think it's everybody. Yeah,
exactly.
You know, but
I just I'm looking at it like this is an issue where like I don't think we can be trusted on to make the right decision. Because like I said, like we don't do good in like when things get hard. So I just look back at like what God's said, and like he doesn't offer like, or he doesn't say that there's any case where it's, he says thou shalt not murder, not thou shalt not murder unless. Exactly. And also too, like the way he judges nations, or he has judged nations for the sin of child sacrifice. He judges Israel in the book of Jeremiah. He talks to Israel, and he's talking about because they did it, because they went into the land of Canaan, and the surrounding nations practiced child sacrifice, and their form was pretty grotesque. Like they would like put born live babies in like these pots and like burn them on an altar. Is awful.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, there's places in Israel where like archaeological sites where they've unearthed like hundreds of these pots. So like that was the environment that the nation of Israel was surrounded by these nations that did this, and they were human and they were sinful, so they participated. And when God's judging them for it, he's like, all-knowing God is like, it didn't even cross my mind that you could do this. Like he uses that phrase, like it didn't even enter my mind that you would do this evil thing. And what he does is the place where they were doing this is called Topheth, and it was in the valley of Hinnom. And that valley, the name of it in Hebrew was like, I'm going to butcher this because I'm not a Hebrew scholar. It's like gay Hinnom or something like that. And then when the Greeks came in later on in history, that area got renamed Gehenna, which is where Jesus points to when he's describing what hell is. When he's describing the judgment of God, the ultimate judgment of God on sin. He points to the place where like God brought down fire on an altar of child sacrifice. He's like, you see what he did to that? That was just a taste. Like he uses the child sacrifice as like, this was just a taste of what ultimate judgment is. But that was what he picked. So I'm like, I will no part, please. I will kindly opt out of that.
What church are you in?
Antioch Christian.
It's from here.
Oh, I got you. It's down in like Seagrove.
How many minutes is it from here?
20 or so minutes. It's like down south. You get on 42 and like go down that way.
Just out of curiosity, what made you choose like this location?
just it's public property and it's like foot traffic. Because like my goal is to have these kind of conversations.
Yeah. Also, are you recording right now? I saw your mic earlier.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see the camera around, so and then once you said that was your wife, that made sense.
Yeah. It's just for one, for protection, and two, like whenever I have good conversations, like that are edifying, like I like to share them just so like other people can hear my arguments, hear people that disagree with me arguments, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got anybody that gets real rowdy?
A couple, nothing too crazy. Like I haven't had drinks thrown in my face. The first time I came out here, a girl that actually works in this tea shop came out and was like yelling at me for not having a sign for the children being killed in Gaza. I was like, well, I don't.
Children being killed in Gaza? I feel like everybody's being killed in Gaza right now.
Exactly. I was like, well, I'm not for any children being killed. Like that's my position is don't kill children.
That's the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we didn't read the sign.
I was like, I'm just advocating for the children that are here, but as a general rule, no. There was one couple that came and were kind of not aggressive, but kind of just feisty a little bit.
Yeah.
But not too bad. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
I've never felt unsafe.
Yeah.
More just people making fools of themselves.
Yeah, I feel like here you wouldn't probably get too many.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
And I'm from Florida, like Orlando,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like if you did it there,
Yeah, probably.
that'd be rough.
Yeah, we've done this. I did this in Charlotte one time, and that was a little bit more.
Charlotte, which one? No, Charlotte. Oh, North Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the biggest city in our state,
Stop.
and it's a lot more blue and crazy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they've got the busiest abortion mill.
Girl, sorry.
No, you're good.
Just trying to like rub it off on my
Yeah, this is just like I live close to here, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's local town. Just trying to talk to local people, change their minds.
That's cool.
Yeah.
For like bringing awareness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we don't 100% agree, you know.
Yeah.
It's good for people to see. Maybe somebody who does take them once a month will.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll change their point of view.
Yeah, hopefully. That's the goal, is just to like shift the culture's thinking on because like I said, I'm abolitionist. I wouldn't put myself.
I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, well, so we're distinct from the pro-life movement because the pro-life movement seeks to regulate abortion, which is actually why I have this specific sign where it says abolish, not regulate abortion.
Abolitionist. Okay.
Yeah. So we're getting there. Yeah, so the pro-life movement wants to regulate abortion. They're like, they believe we should slowly get rid of it. Some of them, the more cynical ones, like that are like, pulling $100,000 paychecks from their nonprofits.
Yeah, stand up.
Those are, they probably don't actually want to see it abolished because that means their paycheck dries up.
Yeah.
But at like the core philosophy, they think we should take incremental steps to get rid of it, whereas I would be what's called an immediatist, where I say like our standard shouldn't be, let's slowly get rid of it because it's wicked. God says it's wicked, so we should hold that standard because God is the ultimate standard of morality. So like I would oppose like halfway measures. So like in North Carolina we have a 12-week ban. So after 12 weeks you can't get an abortion.
Yeah.
I would say that that's wrong and that's evil because what those laws do is they actually legalize abortion under certain conditions. It's the same way with like drinking. We have a ban on drinking prior to 21 weeks, but the implicit result of that law is that, I said weeks, 21 years. The implicit result of that is that you are allowed to drink after 21. Like the law that bans it is the law that legalizes it in different cases. So you're looking at, say a 12-week ban, that you've got a woman at 13 weeks that has an abortion, that was a crime.
Yeah.
even though we wouldn't, those laws wouldn't punish the woman. And then you have a woman at 11 weeks who has an abortion. That was a crime. That's not allowed. So it's the same crime, but you're treating different people differently, which is partiality. And God talks several times about hating partiality. It's unjust to judge with unequal weights and measures. So, we're against those kind of halfway things. And honestly, some people will say, hey, well, it's at least saving some babies, right? Like, you want to save some babies. Yeah. But how we look at it is that even if it does save some babies, thank you. Even if it does save some babies, you're doing it at the expense. Like, if you're saying well, it's the only way we can get this law passed is if we compromise with the people that want it. That's the only way we can get it passed. We'll compromise and we'll make it illegal just at 12 weeks. We'll allow it under 12 weeks. Well, what that does is you're allowing some to die to save others. Or, to put it another way, you're sacrificing some to save others. So I'm like, that's still child sacrifice. You're just child sacrifice for the sake of ending child sacrifice is insane. It'd be it'd be the same thing don't take this to heart because my brain works in stupid analogies, so this may be a horrible analogy, but it'd be the same thing if you're oh, I don't like school shootings, so I'm going to go and kill every gun owner preemptively. It's well, you're against wanton murder, but you're going to go and commit wanton murder to prevent it. It's so that's where we would differ from the pro-life movement. And also, we believe we're a thoroughly, and at its core, the abolition movement is a Christian movement. The pro-life movement is very secular. They're just anybody who wants to stop killing babies can come help us. But we're abortion ultimately is a sin problem. It is a problem of the heart, of man's wicked heart, who hates God and wants to sin. Yeah. So God gave us a solution for sin, and it was the work of Christ on the cross. He gave us the gospel as the solution to sin. So we would say, well, we have a sin problem, and God gave us a solution, so let's use the solution to combat the problem. So the pro-life movement will say oh, you don't talk about religion. If you're at an abortion clinic or you're out on the street, you don't talk about religion because that can scare people off. People will run away. But we're what other?
That's the main basis behind it.
Yeah, what else do you have? That's where your argument comes from.
Yeah, that's where the people who are just we just want to control it. That's where they go.
Yeah.
I feel at least with the Christian reason behind it, you've got your religious reasonings to back you up. Not just your own personal, I think this is, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. This is none of. As little of my opinion as I can possibly, possibly muster. I'm trying to take myself out of it, and just be what does God say? What has He said? We obviously know this is wrong. We just have this gut reaction. We know it's wrong. So let's look to the objective standard and say, what should be our response to this? And God says in I think it's Proverbs 24, He says, rescue those being carried off to slaughter and deliver those who are carried off to death, deliver those who are being carried to the slaughter. So our charge as Christians is to save those being carried off to death, and we are to do it in obedience to God. So that's why I don't think it's right to go bomb abortion clinics, because that is also evil.
Right.
But we should be advocating for our legislators to be doing right by God. Because Romans 13 says that there is no authority except that which comes from God. So even whoever gets elected in November, whether it be Kamala or Trump, whoever, no matter how wicked they may be, their authority derives from God.
Yeah.
And they are, Romans says they are a servant to do good. It also says they're an avenger to be a terror to the wrong, or to bear the sword against the wrongdoer. So like their charge is to establish justice and to punish wrongdoers. Like that's how you just maintain order and keep justice. So that's why like I'm saying like we need to abolish it, because if it's wrong, then our laws should say it's wrong.
Yeah, and then honestly, and also if it does get abolished, I feel like right now, if it was to be completely like eradicated, I feel like there would be no fail-safe for the women. You know what I mean? Like the ones who would have actually like. How do I say this? Like the ones who would have needed it not out of irresponsibility, but out of like tragedy. Them, I think there needs to be a fail-safe in place for them, because right now there isn't. And if there is, it's so minute, it's not even funny. So like in the future, if it does get abolished, I feel like the first thing before it's abolished is like that reassurance, like hey, if something happens, like we will take care of you. Like you're not going to be left floundering on your own.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That way, I feel like that fail-safe should be there first.
Yeah, and I would
like how you said, like the nurturing and the law. I feel like that needs to be set in place first before that is, because I mean it wouldn't really need to be, but it would just.
It'd be good. It would help. Yeah. It would be right to do. I agree. And I think that is also like a responsibility of the church. Like the church is to care for widows and the fatherless. Like the church needs to be the one stepping up. And I mean that it is the case to some degree. Like most like crisis pregnancy centers and places like that, where you can go if you are in an emergency situation where you've gotten pregnant and you don't know what to do. Most of the places that are run that offer those services are Christian organizations, which is good, but I think there needs to be more. For the amount of abortion, like our culture has been moved so wicked that there's, I don't want to say there's such a need for abortion, but there's such a desire for abortion.
Yeah. I really did not want her to. I have bags, but if she poops in your grass, I don't.
Okay. No, you're good.
Okay.
But yeah, there do need to be more resources, but I don't think we should hold off until that's the case. I think those resources will become available when there's a need, which, I mean, there's a need now.
Yeah.
But I think the perfect thing to put pressure on the people who would offer those resources to offer it is if there were people that needed it, you know?
Yeah.
Not like, okay, well, we need to get this ready first. There's not a need now, but I promise it's coming.
Yeah.
So, and just, you know.
I feel like there is a need now.
Oh yeah, there is.
It just is not as large as it would be.
Yeah, exactly. That's
but
what I meant.
It is there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there are some people who are like, I spoke to a lady one time who was like, basically saying that, you know, the foster care system's really bad, so we can't get rid of it.
Foster care system?
Yeah. They're like, well, the foster care system kind of sucks, so if we get rid of abortion, you're going to have more kids in the foster care system, and that's bad. So we should keep killing them so they don't end up...
I don't think that's a good argument.
No, it's horrible.
I don't think that's a good argument at all.
No, yeah, and I'm not saying that's what you were saying. I'm just saying, like, some people think that way of, like, it's like, well, we're not in a perfect situation to abolish it. Yeah, so let's keep killing them.
Oh, God.
It's like, okay, what, actually, there was one dude, you know, you're talking about, or asking me if I had any, like, belligerent people. There was one guy, I had a different sign that said, I had a different sign that said, like, abortion is murder. And a guy walked by, he was like, well, so is not educating them and giving them a place to live once they're here. I was like,
what?
Yeah. I was like, what are you saying? He was like, you don't care about them after that. Some of them go into poverty. I'm like, so we should kill poor people? Like, what are you saying? You're crazy.
Yeah.
Like people don't think them through.
Projects.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
It's like I would rather have someone living in poverty and be alive than to just be like, well, you were probably
gonna be poor.
Yeah. I mean, and how many people were poor as a kid? Like my dad was dirt poor when he was a kid.
Right?
And now we're like, he's a business owner now. It's like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Is that your guys' car right there?
No, we parked like back there. Yeah. I'm surprised the baby went to sleep. Because she is very difficult to put to sleep sometimes. It's so weird. Like, she's asleep right now, and there's cars driving by, there's people shouting, there's honking, all this noise.
It's like,
Yeah, dead asleep. Last night, she had like made a loaf of bread in the bread maker, and the sound of her like unlocking it from the machine was like poof, wide awake, and that was in a different room.
yeah.
It's crazy. I don't understand babies.
I hope you guys have a fabulous day.
Yeah, you too. This was a fantastic conversation.
Intriguing conversations moving forward. Also, what do you like? What's your like social media?
Mine is, well, it'd be hard to, mine is a weird made up word. But here is, I'm with a group called Abolition North Carolina, which I think one of those QR codes is to there. That's where we've got some of the videos like,
Oh my God, is that real?
yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah,
Morbid.
we were passing those out in Charlotte, and there were literally people looking at that and laughing and like taking pictures with it, like, yeah, it's crazy. Like the darkness that people have in their hearts, like the callousness is crazy. The best way to find it.
That's insane. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
I'm listening. I'm just stuck on that.
Yeah, no, it's shocking, and I don't like the images either, but like the way one of my mentors puts it a really good way. Like right now, abortion is public policy. Like it's so we should publicly display it. Like if you're gonna say this is okay, like you should be able to face it.
You should look at it.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing? Come here. Thank you.
Yeah, so Abolish Abortion North Carolina is one. There's a national group based in Oklahoma called Abolitionist Rising. They do very similar stuff to this. Like they go out to college campuses and have conversations, and they've got a lot of good resources that kind of flesh out this position. So they're good to look at. But if you want more of the biblical case, they're on the Abolish Abortion North Carolina YouTube page. I actually gave a talk at my church a few months ago that like I laid out the whole like start to finish like biblical argument. Like I start with kind of showing that abortion is child sacrifice, like why I think it's that, and then going through and be like, all right, what does God say? And like just kind of working through. Like I was saying, like that was like me trying to like take myself out of it as much as possible and just be like, what does this say? So if you want to learn more and hear it from me not rambling, because I actually had it written down, that's a good place.
I think it's hard to like pull a solid argument out of thin air. You know what I mean? Not that it's out of thin air. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
You
Yeah.
gotta like have rough drafts. Like
exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Not be as scatterbrained as me.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna continue on our walk.
Go for it. Yeah.
Hope you have a fabulous day.
Yeah. Thank you. This is a fantastic conversation.
Don't melt, 'cause you look like you're gonna get hot.
Yeah. It felt good this morning. It's starting to get a little uncomfortable. Have a good one.
Voice as strong as thunder will be heard across the land, calling to the magistrates to save our neighbor man.